Victoria, BC is under siege, and once again, the attack is being launched from within by our own municipal government at the direction of Mayor Lisa Helps. Last month, she gave a speech at an event called The Inclusion Project, in which she detailed her plan to continue to operate her unelected shadow government dubbed the City Family. In her own words, this group formulates public policy in secret and is not accountable to the general public. But first, let's provide some context.
You'll all know, of course, about the statue of John A. Macdonald and the fact that it was removed from the front steps of City Hall. The first thing we heard from the public when we removed the statue was there was no consultation.
That's because there was literally no public consultation. Instead, Lisa Helps formed the City Family. It sounds like some kind of creepy cult, and they were the ones that made the decision. When questioned about the lack of public consultation, Lisa arrogantly proclaimed,
"This isn't a decision for the public. This is a decision for the City Family."
Naturally, the public was enraged by this brazen disrespect for democracy and due process, and Lisa was forced to write an apology letter in the Times-Colonist. In the letter she said, "As Mayor of Victoria, I apologize for not recognizing that the City Family's process might make some people feel excluded from such an important decision. I didn't realize the great desire of Victoria residents to participate. The process going forward will enable this." But in her speech to the Inclusion Project, she all but retracted her apology and doubled down on the City Family.
So locally, moving forward, we're going to continue our work of the City Family. We're going to refuse for it to be given an agenda. We're going to refuse for it to have to do written reports. We're going to refuse for it to have to conform to Western ways of doing business.
So let's get this straight. Lisa's City Family will be forming public policy in secret without any accountability to the public? It seems like Lisa doesn't appreciate quaint Western traditions like democracy.
We're going to refuse for it to be given an agenda. We're going to refuse for it to have to do written reports. We're going to refuse for it to have to conform to Western ways of doing business.
The betrayal doesn't stop there. Listen to how casually local news reported on this abomination.
The City Family is a group set up by council to work through the process of reconciliation. The decision to remove the statue was made by a council-appointed group called the City Family, comprised of the mayor, 2 city councillors, and First Nations representatives.
And council, in the end, I think is expected to trust the process and provide that space for this program to work. It is unique in the country.
Did you hear that? This councillor states that council is impotent, ornamental, and vestigial, and must trust the process of the shadow government.
Council, in the end, I think is expected to trust the process.
Folks, we are in a lot of trouble here. Our city has been hijacked. The conclusion of radical progressive ideology is that Western society is racist and oppressive, and therefore our existing institutions must be replaced to make room for an egalitarian utopia. But in reality, this utopia is an authoritarian nightmare. Here's Lisa Helps' speech summarized.
Here today, of course, on the Lekwungen speaking people's territory for our inclusion project. When the Imam and I organized the Ramadan dinner at City Hall that we had, this region and this country are still racist, and we're not as progressive as we think we are. A surprising amount of racist backlash. Make sure that we are really, truly inclusive, but we must not recolonize the decolonization process. A 1% increase in ethnocultural workplace diversity, importance of intersectionality. This gathering is about authentic stories. Stories are the unit of human understanding. So in our very kind of colonial way, the police are also playing soccer side by side with the Muslim community. So if you would like to do reconciliation with us, you have to create a family. To announce the family, and the job of the family is to listen.
Let's dissect some of the more egregious portions of this awful speech.
In an age of the rise of populism, in an era where facts matter less than dangerous echo chambers on social media, in an age of the rise of populism.
Okay, so she talks like populism is a bad thing, but what's the actual definition of populism? Populism is defined as a political approach that appeals to ordinary people whose concerns are disregarded by elite groups. So, in decrying populism, is Lisa Helps expressing disdain for ordinary people and declaring herself an elitist? She certainly acts like an elitist. Listen to the contempt in her voice when she mentions the public.
The first thing we heard from the public was there was no consultation. The first thing we heard from the public.
Lisa's support for the city family and condemnation of Western society proves that she is out of touch with the concerns of ordinary people. And isn't it ironic that she complains about dangerous echo chambers while speaking to a room full of her acolytes and supporters? Let's hear more of this awful speech.
This region and this country are still racist. When I invited the imam to come and mark Ramadan, and there was so much racist backlash.
Lisa claims that Islamophobia is racist. Apparently, Lisa doesn't know the difference between a race and a religion. But the truth is, Canadians are not racist. We believe in a simple concept called meritocracy, which means people judge others based on the value and merit they provide to society. Canada is extremely welcoming to smart, hard-working, productive immigrants who move here to adopt our language, culture, and values, and become Canadian. What we object to is massive influxes of illegal immigrants pouring into our country and immediately getting plunged into healthcare, welfare, and social services at the Canadian taxpayers' expense. We object to this indiscriminate approach where people are let in even if they are diseased, even if they don't speak English, and even if they are terrorists. This is what Canadians are angry about. Pointing out these issues is not bigotry, it's common sense. Speaking of Muslims, how inclusive are they? Let's ask Victoria's local Muslim preacher, Sheikh Yonis Kathrada, who preaches to a group called the Muslim Youth of Victoria. What are his thoughts on diversity and inclusion?
And nowadays, of course, we are close to Christmas. And so we see around us that the people are preparing themselves to celebrate Christmas. And with great sadness, we see that amongst us there are those who think it's a small matter. There are those who will say to them, Merry Christmas. What are you congratulating them on? Congratulations on the birth of your Lord? Is that acceptable to a Muslim? If a person were to commit every major sin, الزنا, التعامل بالربا, الكذب, القتل, murder, committing adultery, dealing with interest, all of these sins, if a person were to do all of those major sins, they are nothing compared to the sin of congratulating and greeting the non-Muslims on their false festivals.
Pardon me? Saying Merry Christmas is worse than committing murder? This guy is preaching to his mosque that it's okay to exclude non-Muslims. Where's Lisa Helps' condemnation of this bigotry and intolerance? In conclusion, Lisa Helps may seem like a big problem, but she is not the main problem. She's a symptom of public apathy. We allow these parasites to lord over us and lecture us about how bad we are, so they can ram their agenda through. The public is too distracted by bread and circus to stand up and demand a revival of common sense. But if you are one of the few who have the discernment to realize how much trouble that we're in, there's 3 actions you can take right now to make a difference. First, write to Lisa Helps at mayor@victoria.ca and let her know exactly what you think of the city family. Second, email FFOI@victoria.ca and submit a Freedom of Information request about the city family. The public deserves to see the meeting minutes after all. Their decisions are affecting public expenditure and public policy. And finally, go to freedomfreeforall.com/donate to help fund more videos like this. We cannot fight this alone. We need all the support we can get. Stand up for your country, your city, and of course, yourself. We need to find the will to take back our city before it's too late.
Show your support for Freedom Free for All and independent media today at patreon.com/FFFA and at freedomfreeforall.com/donate.